Ladies and gentlemen, good day and welcome to Kriti Industries India Limited Q2 FY22 earnings conference call, hosted by Asian Market Securities Limited. As a reminder, all participants' lines will be in the listen-only mode, and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star, then zero on your touchtone phone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Karan Bhatia from Asian Market Securities. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Thanks, Bilal. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning and welcome all to the Kriti Industries India Limited 2Q FY22 earnings conference call hosted by Asian Market Securities. From the management side, we have with us Mr. Shiv Singh Mehta, Chairman and Managing Director, and Mr. Shashank Velkhede, the CFO. I hand the conference to management for the opening remarks, and then we can open the floor for the question and answer. Over to you, sir. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. It is my pleasure to welcome you all to the earnings conference call of Kriti Industries India Limited for the second quarter of the financial year 2021-22. I hope all of you are well and keeping safe. Let me give you a brief overview of the operational performance of the company for the second quarter. As you may be aware, that globally PVC prices continued its upward momentum, and in second quarter still it's looking that it's going to continue its trend. Second quarter is generally considered to be a non-peak season due to monsoon, particularly agriculture segment, where during this period generally there is lack of demand for pipes. But our company has been able to maintain similar to the last year. And in the institution side, we have shown growth for telecom duct business and also for micro irrigation segment. Now our group CFO Shashank Velkhede will give you the key financial highlights.
Thank you very much, Chairman, sir. A very warm welcome to all of you. Good morning, everybody. Let me take you through the key financial performance of our company on a consolidated basis in Q2 FY22. The operating income for the quarter was 112.7 crore rupees, which was an increase of about 25.2% on a YOY basis. The EBITDA reported was 12.3 crore rupees, which was an increase of about 12% on a year-on-year basis. EBITDA margins stood at 10.93%, while the net profit after tax reported was 5.5 crore rupees with PAT margins of 4.89%. On the balance sheet front, we have been able to manage the working capital requirements prudently by maintaining the current ratio at 1.32 times, and the debt equity ratio is also in a very strong position at 0.19 as compared to 0.23 in March 21. For the first half of FY22, the operating income was 267 crore rupees, which is an increase of 8.7% on year-on-year basis. The EBITDA reported was about 26 crore rupees, which is an increase of about 4.9%, and EBITDA margins stood at 9.71%. The net profit for H1 reported was around 18 crore rupees, while the PAT margins were around 6.67%. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. With this, now we can open the floor for question and answer sessions. Thank you very much again.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and one on their touchtone telephone. you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may please press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handset while asking a question. To ask a question, you may please press star and 1. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. We have a first question from the line of Ankit from Bamboo Capital. Please go ahead.
Thanks for the opportunity. Sir, we have been hearing from other PVC pipe companies that, on the agriculture side, given the sharp rise in PVC prices, the demand has been impacted quite a bit, and the farmers are shifting to unorganized companies because of such a steep pricing. So if you can give your views, what is happening on the demand side, primarily because of increasing PVC prices?
Mr. Ankit,
Yeah.
in our view, with the kind of prices and raw material challenges most of the industry is facing, we are seeing more of a consolidation of industry rather than demand shifting to unorganized sector. So we feel that there is a consolidation and growth for organized sector. As far as demand side is concerned, the demand certainly will get impacted with these kind of prices. But when we see overall availability of material and ability to manage your supply chain appropriately, those companies who are well placed to do this will be gaining out of the whole scenario. This is how we look at the market at the moment.
But has there been an impact on demand from the farmers then?
For the Q2, yes, agriculture sector has shown a very minor dip, which is almost less than few percentage point. But the question today was most of the time in September and even in October first week and towards second week, it was raining across the length and breadth. So monsoon was extended and delayed. So that could be a major reason. So we are hopeful that post Diwali, the market demand should improve because generally farmers must be looking for products because they were not able to buy in the first quarter as well because of pandemic when most of the agriculture market in rural and urban areas were closed.
Sure. And then, last year Q3 was the best quarter for us in terms of revenues and margins. And how do you see this year Q3 panning out, at least in the first 25-26 days of October?
For agriculture sector, we are quite hopeful that there should be good demand. And for other sectors like institutions and others, we again feel that government is putting a lot of efforts to support the demand. And again, when we look at building product where we are doing more or focused work, we are seeing sustained growth quarter on quarter.
Sure. And just last question on the building product side. Sir, we have an ambitious target of this segment showing significant growth for us and contributing at least 20-25% of our revenues over the next 2 to 3 years. So any development on how has been the acceptability of our products in the markets that we cater to, and how are we building the team for this segment? If you can throw some light on that.
No, the growth in building material is fairly good. We are reaching out to the markets as per our plans. We have been able to build our team, and every segment, every geography, we are able to get right capability to be able to ensure that we are able to move ahead as per our plans.
Sure. Okay. Thank you. I'll come back in the queue. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. A reminder to the participant to ask a question. You may please press star and 1. The next question is from the line of Vishal Prasad from VP Capital. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. Good morning. I have few broader questions on the business. In 2016, our revenue was 480 crores, and last year it was 589. Now we aspire to double our revenue in 3 years. Could you take me through your thought process on why we have struggled to grow in last 5 years, and what are we doing to change the growth trajectory of our business? I understand that we have done geographical as well as product expansion, but any specific pointers on what are the actual steps that we are taking?
Mr. Vishal, if you will look at our last few earning calls, we have been telling you about our geographical expansion into newer states, and that is aiding us in terms of growing our volumes. Not only that, there is an overall expected growth in business itself, which will be in addition to the growth coming from new geographies. Company has also entered into building material with a very serious focus, and we are seeing good traction. All put together, this is how our volumes are growing. In addition to that, apart from the metric ton tonnage growth, we are seeing a substantial increase in the raw material prices over a period of time. So put together, these all factors are helping in showing you better top line numbers.
Sir, if I look at our revenue from building materials starting 2018 and last year 2021, over 4 years it has hovered around 30 to 35 crores. So basically, our aspiration is to take it to 200 crores in 3-4 years. So if I understand correctly from our competitors, what has happened in the industry is that the larger and competent distributors, they have signed up with larger organizations, and they cannot sell the products from the competition. So when we go and recruit the distributors in the market, and specifically in building materials, so how are we approaching the whole area where we are trying to get the distributors who are hungry for growth? So how are we doing it?
You see, we are primarily all these years focused on agriculture markets. We have a very strong distributor presence across our territories of marketing and sales. More than 400 and odd distributors who are well entrenched in these areas, who are capable and very effective in terms of their local connect. If these distributors sell our BP, who are not traditionally very BP oriented, that itself gives us a good traction and reach into many geographies. You must have seen that in last quarter to quarter we are showing good growth on BP segment, and we are quite confident with the existing dealership what we have. Without enrolling new distributors in many areas, which we shall definitely try to do, we should be able to achieve our numbers. Because most of the growth is coming in rural areas as far as building material is concerned.
So in the annual report, you have talked about training our current distributors in how to sell in the building material segment. So I understand there are different skills required if we are trying to sell agri pipes and if we are trying to sell building material pipes. So is there any specific thing that we are doing with the distributors or training we are providing which can help them upskill and sell our products?
You see, building material is a lot of service orientation in terms of regular supplies, continuous supplies, stocking materials, and also serving the retail network around your place of or position. In case of agriculture pipes, most of the customer come to the shop of a dealer and buy it mostly. So there is a difference in two situations, because building material you buy every day as the house construction progresses. While in case of agriculture, you buy it one time during your time of purchase. Am I able to explain the point?
So, I mean, my question was more on the distributors. Like we have talked about the training that we are providing to them. So
there's a range of products. He has to stack them. He has to keep his stock level updated. He has to have internal systems of stock management. He has to serve a customer for small supplies or regular supplies. He has to build up connect with the local plumbers or other retail outlets. So these are the new areas which he has to work towards in service side, servicing the customer base. So this is where we are training our dealers to do the job right way.
Okay, one last question, sir. In our business, having multi-location plant is an advantage as it helps us to lower the logistics cost. And it also helps us to market, improve our ability and time to market. But I see that we have a huge capacity at one location. So could you please talk about your thinking process when we expanded and created such large capacity at one location?
You see, we are very well placed. Pithampur, Indore are centrally placed in India from where you can approach most of the territories. And operational advantages of a larger volume in single place are also available. However, as I have been maintaining, we will certainly look for more locations or new locations when we develop critical volumes and we are able to see a cost advantage because of transportation and logistics cost or local presence. So we are definitely planning to go and put up at new locations, but it will only happen when we achieve critical volumes in those territories what we have planned.
Okay, and any update on water tank business, sir?
Water tank is an area where you have to be more multi-locational because of volume. So we are doing well as far as in the limited territory we are presently. But as and when we go multi-locational, this is the area where we'll focus more and more in times.
We don't have, we are having the water tank or we are going to have it in the future?
We have already launched and it's well received, well accepted in the market.
Okay, sure, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. The next question is from the line of Bhavnil Desai from Turtle Capital. Please go ahead.
Hi, good afternoon, sir. Sir, the first question is, if you can explain us, how the trade works on the agri side. So let's say, for Q3, is it that the placement of the products with distributor happens in advance and distributor anticipates certain demand and stock inventory, or is it like as and when demand comes, they kind of come back to us and then we give the supply? How does it work?
You see, agri side, normally a customer will come to a shop and would expect material to be purchased on spot. So most of the dealers keep stock for a couple of days requirement, and this is why they keep planning their purchases based on market movements. So most of the stocks are available for immediate sales at a dealer's point. And there are times which are when the peak demand comes, they run short of material and there's a lot of pressure on companies to supply when turnaround times are expected to be within minutes and hours. But this is how the market functions, because in peak season there is always shortage of casta product in market, and we try our best to maximize supplies before sudden surge in demands come.
Okay. So the reason I'm asking this question is, sir, PVC prices have been on upward trajectory for some time. So is it a factor, in coming couple of quarters that people or distributors are skeptical to stock, considering that the prices may not sustain? Is that a lurking fear in the mind of distributor which may have some impact on the demand?
You see, that is certainly these months, last 16, 17 months have been unprecedented in terms of price movement of commodities. And plastics are really something where no one is sure how long, how far these kind of moments will continue. And more importantly, at dealer level or a distributor level, their understanding of world market is limited. So there will be always apprehensions. So what you are saying is absolutely correct. Dealers do have a feeling that what kind of a price scenario they may face. There could be a sudden upward or downward movement which may affect their business. But they have fair good trust in company that we will give them appropriate guidance if there is a situation of sudden reverses. And that's how our relationship and dealership has been maintained with such a strong mutual dependence. But yes, this is the thing in mind. But so far, since this is a one-way movement for last couple of months, particularly last July onwards, so dealer must have seen that the price trends are fairly robust. And since demand is likely to peak in November, so they will be keeping some stocks readily available with them.
Okay. Okay, that's helpful. Sir, second question is on our industrial side. I think in our previous commentary, we were pretty cautious on that side in terms of, considering the credit challenges that some of the corporates may face. But still, we have done reasonably well in terms of volume growth. So, sir, how do we look at this segment going forward? And what can be driving the demand? There are a lot of city gas distribution projects which are coming up in implementation stage. So how should we look at the growth in the industrial side?
No, we have not done very major growth in terms of volumes. We have been very cautious, and we still continue to be cautious on institutions supply side, because wherever we are sure that these companies where we are sure of payment and timely supplies, we still will try to maximize that work. But still, overall, in our estimation, there are not very great prospects where we'll be able to increase this business beyond a reasonable amount. I mean, because ultimately government finances, if they are able to support all their purchases in time, we will certainly do whatever best with all caution in mind.
Okay, got it. And so last question is on the building product side. Sir, I think, if I recollect correctly, our strategy is to leverage our distributors and probably our strongest geography, MP and maybe Maharashtra, to kind of, scale up this business. So we are currently at, 750, 800 tons on a quarterly run rate. Is it possible to, double this number only by tapping the existing distributors and market of MP and Maharashtra? And if so, other than the limited product profile that we have currently, do we need to change anything? If you can throw some light on that.
You see, I mean, we are very small players in terms of market share against the opportunity. And with strong dealership base we have in rural areas, I mean, we don't see any reason why we should not have a very good compounded growth rate as far as, because from starting from a small base, it's very easy to grow numbers in terms of multiples. Right. Last year to this year, we have almost doubled, and we see no reason why this growth rate should be maintained. We should be, we shall be. That's how we feel.
Okay, sir. Okay. And the last question, one reason we may have done well in Maharashtra is, one of the larger players was facing financial challenges and, they exited the market, or they kind of, reduced their focus. Do you see them coming back, at least on the ground level? Do you see them coming back with focus again on, this market, at least in Maharashtra?
As I was sharing initially with one of the questions, we are seeing consolidation of industry happening. So the unorganized sector itself offers a big opportunity for any organized player to improve its market and size of cake.
Okay. Thank you. I'm done. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The next question is from the line of Rupesh from IntelSense Capital. Please go ahead.
Hello, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes, you are audible, sir.
Thank you for the opportunity. There are 3 or 4 questions I really had. First question really is, if you see the playbook of larger industry players, Astral, Finolex of the world, APL, Apollo, there is a big brand spend that happens first, and then a lot of sales growth comes, and we have a very good brand in Custom. So roughly, broadly, can you talk about your branding strategy, and do you see yourself following this playbook?
Our brand is a very well-established brand in the areas where we operate, and we have a majority market shares in agriculture segment in these areas. We have also seen when we have gone to the newer areas or adjacent areas, we are finding that people know about our brand pretty well. Though we may not be present in those territories, but they do recognize us as one of the serious players of the business. So that is why whenever we have introduced our products in those areas, we were able to identify some prospective good distributors, and that is the journey we are on. So we are quite hopeful that once we achieve critical volumes, we are more focused on BTL, not ATL at the moment. And that is what is helping our business to stabilize in new territories as well.
So do you see aggressive investments, sir? Can we expect ad spends as a percentage of revenues to go significantly over the next 3-4 years?
Once we have captured the low-hanging fruits and we have achieved certain reasonable numbers, we will certainly go for other branding initiatives which are necessary as a business demands.
Okay. The second question, sir, is roughly, if my understanding is right, 60% of PVC resin you get it from Reliance Industries, roughly 10% is from the imports, and then other from other players. So is there any scope for an annual contract or something like that, so that we are shielded from volatility both on the upside and the downside?
No, we have regular supply channels and we get material through them from overseas as well as from domestic suppliers. Like polyethylene, we are buying from all the majors, whether it's Opal, IOCL, GAIL or anyone, including Reliance. For PVC, it is mostly Indian sources, Reliance, and otherwise all imported. Now, the world market supply chain conditions have changed so much in last 1.5 years that new sources, new avenues have to be always explored for procurement. And we do it because we are well known in the industry and we are able to do that as per our requirements.
So most of the buying is spot basis, sir? Would that be fair understanding?
At the time of monthly, most of the buyers take up their sales once in a month and we are party to that purchase cycle. Normally it takes about 45 days to 60 days cycle for material to reach here.
So PVC resin, sir, it's a spot buying there, right?
Right, PVC resin.
Okay. Another thing is, sir, if PVC resin prices continue like this, do you see either down trading or some of the lower segment moving to non-PVC products?
Sir, it's a very natural thing to happen. If suppose this is a relentless price increase, then there will be definitely a customer will look at the options. But today, if you look at even steel, the steel is going up. If you look at polyethylene, it is also going up. There could be a relative difference, but there is an increasing trend in all commodities. So we don't see major, diversion immediately, because every product has its characteristics and its application which are unique to itself. So you can have some peripheral migration, but not across the board.
Okay. So you don't see like a big impact, maybe some usual.
The economy ultimately plays out. One cannot stop it. Polyethylene today is comparatively less inflationary as compared to PVC. But polyethylene has its advantages and disadvantages in PVC. So specific application wise, wherever that product is required, will be there. And this cannot go endlessly. Over some period of time, some corrections will have to happen.
Okay. That is good to know, sir. Next question is on distribution. So what is our total number of distributors as of Q2? And then how many of them, either they are exclusive to us or our products get the maximum shelf space?
No, most of our distributors are on our mutually exclusive basis, and we had more than 440 dealers and distributors. And now we are adding every month now onwards some distribution in new territories where we want to establish our building material in a more significant way.
Thank you very much. In the interest of time and fairness to all participants, please restrict your question to 2 per participant. The next question is from the line of Viraj Mehta from Equirus PMS. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Hello, sir. Sir, just wanted to understand, because the PVC prices have gone up significantly over last few months, in this quarter's number, what will be the inventory gain?
Last quarter, we don't have much inventory gain because it's in an inflationary price cycle. Normally, your pressures come, margins come under little pressure. Hello? Hello? Hello?
Yeah, please go ahead, sir, now.
Am I audible? Yeah. So what I'm saying, in an inflationary price cycle, finally your margins go under pressure. So if there are any inventory gains, you will see in coming quarters, more importantly, rather than the quarters we have gone through. That's how we feel.
Got it. Sir, second thing what I wanted to understand is, when you say your 3-year target is 1,200 crore top line or 1,000 crore, whatever is the top line. But see, realization, as you and I both understand, is out of our hands. So what we are doing in terms of tonnage is around 50,000 today. Can we essentially be doubling our tonnage in next 3 years? Is that the target in terms of tonnage?
So that's where the major growth will come in tonnage, because predicting prices at this time after 3 years is impossible. It's very difficult. It's very uncertain. So what we are calculating our growth is in tonnage. Internally, that is what is our target, to grow our tonnage more than 85,000 tons.
Around 85,000 tons in 3 years.
That's what we want to grow it to from current 50.
Right. And you talked about seeding the market, and especially that you have seeded the market in Maharashtra, and now you are seeding the market in Karnataka significantly. At what stage, let's say, you will think about putting up a plant? Is it like a number in mind? Like, is it like we'll do 5,000 tons, then we'll put up a plant in that state in a year? What is that number in your mind that will tell you that now is the time to go ahead? Because it's a chicken and egg situation, because we are far away, our pricing will be more expensive, and which is why we are not getting market share and vice versa.
You see, we are not in Karnataka today. We are in AP and Telangana. Now we will be entering Karnataka this quarter. So our idea is to grow the market and the cake size there. Once we cross 20,000 tons domestic demand from that locality, we'll be considering a plant.
20,000 tons.
Hello?
Okay. Sure. Thank you.
20.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The next question is from the line of Ritesh Bajatia from Asian Market Securities. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. Thanks for the opportunity. So, sir, most of the question is answered. Just one question, sir, like you said that consolidation is happening in the industry. So I just want to understand what is our game plan to get ourselves increase our market share. Like as a strategy, what we are doing, are we concentrating on expanding our distributorship, or we increase our offering in the terms of more number of SKUs, and what kind of the different terms of the trade we are offering to get this kind of the market share? So if you can talk something on that, will be helpful.
You see, once you want to grow and gain market share, you do both your width and depth. You focus on both. So we are definitely looking not only on increasing the distribution, but we are asking every dealer to penetrate down the line into the smallest segments and pockets. We are also enhancing our product range, as we have been talking, in building material. We are also doing a lot of work on the borewell segment. So we are trying to specialize some of the products for area specific or application specific, and also trying to engage with distributors to go vertically down in terms of catering to more sub-dealers or retailers or customers in that territory. So both efforts are simultaneously happening.
Okay. So, sir, any internal target you have set in mind that in the next 3 years, what kind of the market share we are expecting? Any numbers?
We are already very strong. In our strong areas, we have a fairly significant market share, majority of market share. But in new territories, we are gaining traction and we are improving our market share. So we'll certainly like to take it to a reasonably respectable levels in the new territories where we will be present.
Okay. And sir, being you operated from mainly from MP Indore region, so how is the real estate over there and what kind of demand for building material products over there?
You see, real estate we have seen is doing well across the length and breadth wherever we are seeing. And I think everywhere, even the last quarter we have shown significant improvement in terms of our presence, our numbers and our sales. And must be that since all companies must be doing it, so as compared to agri, we see a far speedier improvement in our growth in building material.
Okay. So, sir, what is our mix as of now, PVC and building material product as of now?
No, building material is growing. As I was telling someone that over last year we must have doubled our numbers this year in terms of metric tons as well. And quarter on quarter we are growing in building material, and it would be in excess to, it's a double-digit growth. So which will further improve as our range grows, improves, our territories grow, our distribution improves. So we are quite hopeful that we should be able to do better.
Okay. So, sir, in the next 3 years, what can be the sustainable margins we can expect?
As we were presently hovering around 10-11% EBITDA margins. We are trying to take them to, industry best is about 18% EBITDA generally, that is projected. So we like to bridge this gap as best as we can.
Okay. So, sir, so that difference of the margin, mainly we spend more on the terms of the trade or on the advertising or someone or
no,
something?
Margins are because of the products you sell and kind of plant utilization you have throughout the year. That is where some margins come.
All right.
Our prices are at par or at a premium in most of the product segments we operate. So that is where the better plant utilization throughout the year, because agriculture is a cyclic, building material is a consistent business. Building material offers better margins as compared to agriculture. So as the migration will happen, you will see that we feel that our EBITDA margins should improve.
Okay, got it, sir. That's from my. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The next question is from the line of Varun Seth, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Hi, thank you for the opportunity. Sir, most of my questions have been answered. Just on the distribution front, I think I heard that 440 distributors and dealers we have, which are most of the exclusive side, and we are planning to increase now onwards on a monthly basis. So any number which you would like to share, say by March, how much increase would that be?
You see, we are doing a lot of calculations and planning. So it would be prudent only to answer these questions once we are ready and we have ourselves assessed our progress in market from plan to actuals.
Okay. And sir, on the demand side, how ground level you are seeing, particularly, I think MP we are very strong, but in the nearby vicinity where we have entered AP, Telangana, etc. So how we are seeing demand on the agri side, particularly in October month and going forward?
You see, so far, if you look at in last quarter, that is Q2, the agri kind of, our top line might have grown, but the metric ton wise, I see there is a little decline because of the prices or extended range all put together. But we are all hopeful that after post-Diwali, there should be an improvement in the market because ultimately underlying demand is there. And since all commodities have gone up, so relative price increases everywhere. So I think customer will have a better choice in buying what he wants to in terms of agriculture price made from plastics.
Sure. I think that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Vishal Prasad from VP Capital. Please go ahead.
Thank you. I have two more questions. So in our EPC business, we supply the pipes directly to the subcontractors. If I look at some of our competition, most of them do EPC business through distributors, and that's how they avoid risk coming to their own balance sheet. So could you please talk about our thought process behind this doing the business directly with EPC contractors?
No, the type of business we are in, normally we feel that it can be only done to a direct EPC contractor because there are specifications specific to a particular project for which pipes have to be produced, and there is a element of third-party inspection which is involved in the process. So mostly for a larger projects, regular projects, they will need to buy directly from a manufacturer because third-party inspection is only possible when such situation is there where transparency of manufacturing supply is made.
Okay. If we talk about the raw material, I mean, there are three sources generally in the industry. One is the local producers like Reliance. Second is the import, and third is the traders or importers. So if generally we talk about our raw material, what percentage we would be buying from the traders or importers?
We don't buy from traders. We directly import or we buy from the local manufacturers.
So close to 10% would be import and rest is through local manufacturers.
Much higher. Import, if you see polyethylene for specific applications, we only import. PVC, because Reliance will give you a limited quantity, rest you will have to import. So we are fairly consistent and regular imports, and whatever we get from local manufacturer, that's only one PVC supplier, that is Reliance. Rest all is to be imported.
Okay, and one last question, sir. You have talked about the distributors that we are recruiting in newer areas like AP and Telangana. So could you talk about the qualities you look for in the new distributors?
No, we have a very clear dealer assessment form within our system, and only once one qualifies with that kind of requirements that we appoint a distributor. We don't make rush in appointing a distributor because it's a long-term relationship and performance. So there should be a mutual buying. Dealer must find that this is a company worthwhile to deal with, and we must find that the dealer has a potential to achieve what we want to achieve in their territory on a long-term basis.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. The next question is from the line of Rupesh from Intersense Capital. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you for the follow-up, sir. I will begin my question. So, sir, one feedback I'm getting is in agricultural products, because we have such a strong brand, the dealer margins are relatively low. So can you confirm that how are our dealer margins in agricultural products versus, let's say, leaders? Is it similar? Is it significantly higher? Is it significantly lower?
In my own assessment, last 1.5 years for dealers has been exceptionally good. They have been very comfortable with the kind of margins they have been able to achieve for two reasons. One, there was an inflationary cycle, so whatever stock they had, they were able to gain out of the stocks they had. And number two, the supplier, many small-time unorganized sector supplies were restricted to minimum, and that's where they were not in any kind of price pressure in spite of raw material prices or product prices going up continuously.
But our deal margins are more than the leaders or less than the leaders? So relatively, if you say
in our areas of dominance, our dealers have the maximum margin because our product sells at one of the higher end of the prices. And in the new territories where we are, our dealers must be comfortable. That's why they are buying regularly, because they have to compete, as well as they have to ensure that they do significant volumes to make their business viable.
Okay. And then how does the value proposition for the dealer changes when we ask them to give them building products? Do they make significantly more money than they make in agricultural products? How does the value proposition look for him when he starts selling these newer products?
You see, building material will definitely give them more comfort and margins. But it's a mindset change which is very important, because the service part or maintaining a large portfolio of inventory and supplying small items also, because a dealer in agriculture sector may do a single billing of a much larger value as compared to what he does in building material segment. So there are mindset issues, comfort issues, service issues. And once he starts doing it, he enjoys this because his margins are better here in building material as compared to agriculture.
Okay, that is good to know, sir. Another question, sir, is are our capacities fungible between agricultural products and the building material products?
In building material product, we are still adding in terms of capacities, and we will be investing further in coming 2 quarters, because our market traction is good. We are finding responses. We have created basic initial capacities, and we will keep upgrading them as per the requirements as the market grows.
Okay. So the reason I asked this question is agricultural demand is largely seasonal, right? But building product is not so seasonal. So in off agri season, can we divert some agricultural capacity to building products?
Surely, that is the advantage we have, because most of the technology part of it is similar or interchangeable.
Okay, so some part of the agri capacity, some steps we can reuse for building material.
Sure, we will, and we shall do that.
Okay. And then, sir, last question is for the Q2. Can you give a split of revenue between your core markets and the newer geographies?
You see, we are maintaining similar ratios of sales between MP, Rajasthan, Maharashtra, Telangana or AP or UP. The market shares will be similar. MP being predominant, followed by Rajasthan and Maharashtra. Almost now Maharashtra has caught on with Rajasthan in terms of equal numbers. Followed by that will be Telangana, AP and UP.
So non-Madhya Pradesh will go below 50% in let's say next 18 to 24 months?
Yes, it is going up equal to that.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much. The next question is from the line of Ankit from Bamboo Capital. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for the follow-up. Sir, on the agriculture side, if you look at it, compared to in H1 FY22, we are almost down by 25% in terms of volume. So do you think, we'll at least be able to match the volumes of last year if there is no subsequent third wave of COVID in the remaining 5 months?
Ankit, can you repeat question? It was not very clear.
Sure, sir. Sir, in the first half H1 FY22, we have seen volumes in the agriculture products declining by almost 25% or more. Assuming there is no third wave of COVID in the remaining 5 months, do you think we'll at least be able to match the volumes in agriculture products for the full year?
There is certainly improvement in terms of overall expectations towards second half of the year. So we will definitely try to bridge the gap, and we'll try to achieve our metric ton numbers, because top line is growing anyway because of the high inflationary.
No doubt about it. Yeah.
But top line, along with the metric ton numbers, total processing quantities, we will try to achieve and cover the deficit of first quarter.
Sure, sir. Sure. Sir, on this, on your point of, there being no inventory gain despite inflationary trends in the PVC prices, just if you can elaborate on that a bit. I was not able to get the reason why there was no inventory gain despite the PVC prices increasing.
So PVC prices are increasing, and that's what I was explaining, that when prices increase, your margins come under pressure. So you will see that EBITDA margins for this quarter will be little lower as compared to earlier quarter. But we certainly look forward to, if prices continue to stay on where, higher side or further increasing trend as is seen further, we will see inventory gains in the coming quarters, if that happens. It is all subject to how the price behave in coming quarters.
Okay. And thirdly, sir, on the new states that we have entered over the past 2-3 years, Maharashtra, Telangana, Andhra, and now in this quarter we are planning to enter Karnataka. So in the 3 months where we have entered over the past 2 years, how has been the pickup in demand and how has been our market share gain? Because these are very big market. Telangana is a big market. Maharashtra, we have been able to garner 10% market share in the areas where we are present. So, if you can elaborate, how is the market share expanding or growing in this new area that we have entered in past 2-3 years?
You see, as I was telling you last time, that during main COVID period of first quarter, we saw a better growth in southern market as compared to northern and central market, because these markets were less affected by COVID as compared to northern and central market. We still continue to grow in these markets, and we are quite comfortable with the way markets are accepting our product. Karnataka we had not entered so far. You mentioned about Karnataka, but we have not entered in Karnataka. Now we are entering into Karnataka.
Yeah. Okay. And so, any idea how would have been the growth of the industry on the agriculture product side in terms of volume? Whatever data you might be having for the industry in the areas where we are present, has the industry grown or degrown?
I would not know exact data, but I certainly feel industry has degrown in first half of this year, as far as agriculture market is concerned.
Thank you so much, sir, and wish you all the best.
Thank you very much. The next question is from the line of Vishal Prasad from VP Capital. Please go ahead.
Thank you, sir. 2 small questions. So what percentage of our revenue comes from fittings? Hello?
Kindly stay connected. We'll reconnect the management. So please go ahead. You're in a conference.
Yeah. Hi, sir. Thank you. Sir, 2 small questions.
Disconnection.
Yeah, sure, sir. 2 small questions. So what percentage of our revenue comes from fittings?
Fitting, we are at about 5% at the moment, 5 point something, which is growing. From 4 to we have come to 5.5 some percentages. So it's improving.
So fittings are generally higher margin products. So are we planning to increase the number of SKUs in fittings?
तब वहीं पर सारा फोकस रहेगा और हमारी फिटिंग्स के ऊपर अभी हम काफ़ी वर्क करेंगे फॉर इंक्रीजिंग नंबर ऑफ SKUs इन नेक्स्ट 2-3 क्वार्टर्स, बिकॉज फिटिंग में SKU ग्रो करने में टाइम लगता है. मोल्ड्स टेक्स टाइम टू गेट रेडी.
ठीक है सर. सर, लास्ट क्वेश्चन. We have a very small CPVC capacity, and you talked about our increasing capacity in the area of building materials, and mostly it will be in PVC. So are we thinking in the lines of we building capability in the area of CPVC?
Certainly, when we talk of building materials, CPVC will be the major area of growth, where we will have to expand capacity, and we are planning to do that.
So in the rural where we have focus, so there I understand that CPVC is still not that dominant. So how do you see, in our market, how we can sell the CPVC materials?
No, if you see that last 1.5 year, during pandemic, if something has changed maximum in India, it's the rural area in terms of the culture, social realities, spending habits, everything. So CPVC is growing very well in rural markets.
Okay. That would be all, sir. Thank you so much for your response.
Yeah.
Have a good day.
Thank you very much. That was the last question for today. I would now like to hand the conference over to Mr. Mehta. Closing comments. Over to you.
Thank you all participants for joining this earning con call. I hope we have been able to answer your questions satisfactorily. And if you have any further questions or would like to know more about our company, please reach out to Investor Relations Manager at Valorum Advisors. Thank you. Stay safe. Stay healthy. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Participant on behalf of Asian Market Securities, that concludes this conference call. Thank you for joining us, and you may now disconnect your line.